Hey, I'm Arthur Leland. I'm going to play a song for you called Into the Waters. It's off my new CD, Cracked Open. Going to do it all live for you in the studio with the art of live looping. Check it out. I'm starting the song off looping a 1-bar kick drum part. I'm triggering it from this keyboard right here, pressing record for the on and for the off of it. That gives me 1 bar as you're listening to right now. Then I press the multiply button right here, and that's going to give me 2 bars that I end with an overdub while I play the wave drum. And then I add the shaker. So I'm doing that through the percussion mic here, which I have to then press a button here that allows me to have that channel enabled in Ableton. So I'm using Ableton as a mixer. I'm using Mobius software as a plugin for the looping. So then I'm going to add another part. I'm going to add the güiro here. Then I add the talking drum here, but I want to make these as fills, so we even multiply it further to 4 bars. Check it out. So the function of multiply, which is this X button down here, it's a product of the Ecoplex Digital Pro, which this software, Mobius, is a software version of the Ecoplex. What that does basically is allows you to take a shorter loop and multiply it out to a longer loop. So the shorter loops, the kick drum keeps going, the other parts now, shaker and the güiro, are now 2 bars, and then the talking drum is 4 bars. Now I use that whole piece to create the acoustic guitar song form. So now we're going to go from a 4-bar loop to multiplying the loop out to, I think, 28 bars, which is basically a verse, it's like an A section, a B section, and a little C section chorus. So when I did that, I started playing the acoustic guitar. I pressed the X button down there, which is multiply. I go boom while I'm playing the acoustic guitar. Then I'm playing that whole verse and chorus. And by the time that all comes around, you're going to press the overdub button, which gets me out of multiply and has that whole 28-bar loop, and then I go over to the bass and play the bass and start singing. What's interesting about this whole concept of on-the-fly song form live looping is that I have to be thinking of the arrangement of the whole song before I'm even doing it. And depending on where I need to come in, if I want to have, say, a bridge, or say in this particular song I have a solo that's only over the A section, later in the song you'll see me press the mute button so I can come back in and do a double verse and play the solo. When I go over to the bass, I have a MIDI controller over here that you can see if you pan over there. So what I'm doing on this is an overdub, this is an undo, and this is a multiply that I use for other songs. But this is mainly what I use to turn off the overdub as I'm singing right after that.
When Waters' temp turned 59, we would gather in our line, count to 10 and run right in. Our heads would ache with pain, lips were blue, bodies frozen. Then we'd do it once again. Fall, winter, spring, and then into the water, into the waters. Then when we were teens, we'd ride our bikes for miles in the sand. Truth or dare.
So now once I finish the bass part, I come over and I grab the 6-string dadgad banjo and have to do it like right in between the verses, so I have enough time to grab the banjo, come and start singing, you know, the next part of the verse, and then you'll hear me come in with the banjo at this next section, the B section.
When Waters' temp turned 63, weekdays, summers, we were free, climbing old piers, scaffolding, sweat pouring, sun burning, 4-inch wide, rusty iron, 15 feet high up we would cling, count to 3, with eyes closing.
So now we're at this place in the song where I have finished the bass part, I'm coming over to play the banjo, and what's going to happen is that the beginning of this whole multiplied loop, which is the song form, is at the downbeat of the A section. So you're going to see me play a banjo solo, and then I'm going to press this mute button. The song's going to stop, and then boom, I start it right back up on the downbeat. So I'm only pressing it for like a half a beat, half a measure. And then boom, I start singing the verse, the last verse of the song. So basically I played a solo, I'm playing a solo over the A section, and then I'm pressing mute and I'm coming back in with the A section to sing the third verse. So one of the interesting things about this record that I was able to bring back into my live performances is that since I'm playing everything in the studio, all those sounds, all the percussion, the acoustic guitar, the bass, these are all basic tones that were used in the studio. So after I finished the record, I had Aaron Shearer, who is my co-producer, come to my live rehearsal space, and basically he recorded all the instruments, all of my tones, and then we brought that back in Ableton. Then all of a sudden I have all these things that he did on the record inside of Ableton, and in the mix live, it gives a whole nother dynamic which kind of blurs the lines between studio and live. And then I give two lines, a left and right, to the house, and I'm giving, I'm mixing everything. I don't need anything on stage. It's allowing a lot more control in my live performance than I ever had before. Okay, so what I just did there, I press multiply, boom, it shortens down the 28 bar loop to 4 bars. Here's the chorus going around. Then I'm able to add vocal harmonies and unmute the instruments going to the looper and bring the vocals only going to the looper. That's what these two buttons here do. So and now we're gonna have the second harmony. And then I'm adding the whistling part. The art of live looping is the art of recording, overdubbing, layering, mixing, arranging parts and instruments and vocals in a live performance that I'm using the computer. Obviously, it's playing them back and continuously repeating loops. But I have to be thinking like a singer-songwriter, an arranger, engineer, entertainer, and plus I have to mix. That was the other thing. There's a mix engineer in there because I have to make sure that every sound is being mixed properly inside of it. I have to be thinking about all these different hats while it's happening.